Okay, so I've got the level view there, the elevation open there showing the levels. But I'm going to go back to my floor plan that has the image inserted so I can start making some physical objects. Some walls to begin with, and maybe even some floors. So we can start seeing what this building is actually going to look like. Now, you've got an interesting topography there because you have the footpath there, or the road sloping up above the height of the ground floor. So that's something to look at later and maybe think about. Have you worked with topo surfaces before in Revit? Have you done topo surfaces before?
Yeah,
I've said it. Yeah, thanks, Susie. Okay, so if you haven't worked with the topo surface tool in Revit, be careful with it. It will cover up the inside of your building if you put that in without a building pad. And I'll definitely spend some time on that when I come back. But also, Araj will most likely show you some things with that. For now, though, I'm going to pretend that the road isn't there and just create the ground floor going all the way down to the height at the lowest point. So I'll make my walls from that point, and we'll take them all the way through. Luckily, this building is pretty much straight up and down. You do have these bays with piers either side, which are set back, and so we should really use separate walls for those. So the walls here from the ground floor really can only go as high as the second floor, and then we can do a new set of walls for the levels above that. And I think here, because it's because of the area the building was built, I'm going to assume that it has thick walls for the lower levels, and that's probably shown in the floor plans anyway. So anyhow, you should think about those things before you go ahead and make your walls, and I'm going to go and do that now. So looking in the floor plan, you can see, as I was saying, the walls are thicker than normal, so they're not just double brick walls. They would have an extra skin of brickwork, most likely, so they'd probably be solid brick with a cavity as well. So solid brick on one side and then single skin on the other, maybe. So what is it, 600 or so there is the thickness. That's including the pier. Let's maybe measure it from another point. So from there, without the pier, it is 500. So let's do a bit of calculation first before going madly ahead and just creating the walls. Just to try and get an idea of what the construction is. You don't need to have this totally worked out, but you won't have an idea. So solid brick wall, do you know how thick that is? Yep, exactly. Yeah, with no cavity. Not far off, yeah, 230. Yeah, so 230 is a solid brick wall. Okay, plus 110 is a single skin brick wall. So that's 340, which would leave us with a 160 cavity. So that's probably got maybe 2 layers of solid brick wall, which would maybe make sense. So okay, so it's the old way of doing structures. They actually just did extra thick brick walls quite often before reinforced concrete. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So 230 plus 230 obviously is 460, and that leaves us with roughly a 50 mil cavity, which sounds about right. So 510 thickness for the wall is probably a good starting point. And then if you need to show the construction later, you can easily do that. Now I'm going to do it in a simpler form to begin with, and just use a generic wall. I'm not going to put the cavity in, but I'm going to make it that thickness. So if it's going to change later, we can do that. So with the wall tool, going to the generic walls, any of those I can use to begin with. Ah, it's busted, yeah, someone's put sticky tape on, that was clever. Oh, it's up to you. Yeah, if you want to. Just be careful. It doesn't matter because you're going to duplicate it anyway. So I'm going to go to Edit Type, Duplicate, and I'm going to call this Basic 510 millimeter wall. And then I'm going to click Edit to change the structure and just make the thickness 510 for now. So I'm not even going to have different sides to this wall initially. And that's it. I'm just going to keep it simple. But I will also make the coarse scale fill colour black because it's an existing wall. And that's it, and then OK. And I can then simply trace, maybe not beginning over here because that is an unusual wall where you have a bit of a projection, so I'll start maybe a bit further along. And I'm going to change the height before I start. Remember to go to level 2. And then the location line to finish face exterior. And then I can trace over the grid line. Now for that point I'm going to have a look at the photo, so I'll come back to that, but I'm just going to trace here where the wall actually does follow the grid. And then come along to the corner. We've got again it's a pier at that point, so we'll just take it to, well, I'll take it to the intersection for now, and we can always adjust that later. And then coming down and then just tracing the rest. So here the walls are different thickness again. It's always the way with buildings like this, so we'll need to have a few different thicknesses. And so here I might actually just take this to the intersection at the corner and finish it there. Okay, so I'll just show you a couple of tips for working with views that have an image so that you can see the image underneath. You might want to go to wireframe, which will show you through the floor, but it won't show through the wall because the wall's using a coarse scale fill pattern. And so you also need to change the display type or the detail level to fine, and then you will see through the walls. So there's two things, so wireframe and also the detail level to fine. So now I can see the plan again under my walls. No, just in this view. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to now extend. I'll extend that wall to the corner. So I just use trim to corner to do that, to join those two walls together. And now I have to go around and break these walls up so that I can have the different wall thicknesses. Now, another method that people often use is to draw a new wall over that and have that joined to the original wall. So a couple of ways of doing this. There, where the wall's slightly off, I'd be tempted to just ignore that, but well, I'll show you how to get it right as well. So here you've got something that's not very clear. The wall probably projects out from there just after the window, but we can't be sure of that because you've also got the window sash or the window reveal set back from the edge of the wall there. I think that's just a bit of a mistake in the drawing actually. So I'm going to say that's a mistake where they brought that line in there, and ignore that, and I'm going to split the wall. So I'm just going to the split tool so I can break the wall there. Okay, so now we want this wall to extend out. So it's about 100 mil either side. I'm just using the ruler to measure that. Yep, about 100 mil each way. And we want it to extend from the centre. So remember, I drew it using finish face exterior, but now I can select that wall and change the location line to wall centre line. Notice how now the grip has moved to the centre of that wall, that dot there, whereas for the wall that I drew to the right, the grip's still on the outside. So when you're adjusting the wall thicknesses, always think about the location line, because that's where the size is going to be adjusted from. So now I'm going to edit type, duplicate, and this is going to be basic 710 wall. And I can change that to that size. Okay, so again, I'm not sure exactly what's happened there, but I'll be looking at the photos to check to see if that's right. I think that might be a mistake as well. Okay, so again, you've got a wall here that's another thickness. So again, just measuring off the drawing. Yeah, let's say it's 320. Okay, which is 230 plus 110. That's maybe some sort of retaining wall, I think. Not sure. I think so, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, holding the earth back, I'd say. So, yeah, don't get too fussy about these walls, because they might need to change quite a lot anyway once you find out exactly what's happening there. So I just need to rough something in there. So for now, I'll just do another wall type. What did I say, 320? So that's actually not, so that's, sorry, it's not 230, it's 230, no, that's not right. So let's say it's, well, it's probably just an extra thick cavity actually. If it's a retaining wall, it could have a cavity quite easily. So 300, let's just keep it at that, and you've got a 300 mil wall. It's probably not drawn all that accurately anyway. So here I'm going to use finish face interior to draw the wall. And the thing to remember about drawing walls, apart from setting all the properties as they have been, is that you want to draw them clockwise. So I'm going to start on this side, coming up, around to the right. And then again here you can see the line that's shown on the plan isn't quite parallel to the wall below, but it's not far off parallel. So again, we can tweak the drawing slightly to make them a little bit neater. That is going to help you. So I'm going to draw it parallel and then perpendicular to my existing walls. And then this wall here, I want to now split. So I'm going to use split element to break it inside that opening, trim to corner, and I can then join these two together, and then these two on the left. And now you can see that the outside edge of this wall is in the right place, but the inside edge needs to come back. So we probably have yet another wall thickness, or is it one that we've already used? 540 is close enough to, I think 510, that's probably close enough. Again, I don't think these drawings are maybe all that accurate, so I'm going to use the 510 wall. And so I want that to be adjusted with the outer edge remaining where it is. So remember that the location line at the moment is on wall centre line. I'm going to change that to finish face exterior before I change the wall type back to 510. Slightly off, but that's accurate enough. Now, the piers should be done a little bit differently. So you've got all these piers that project, and again, I don't really think these drawings are all that accurate. I doubt very much that the wall thickness would change the way it's shown. If you look at the way this wall now appears traced over the drawing, it's obvious that they've actually got the inside line there not exactly parallel with the outside line. And I think that's just inaccurate drawing. So I would keep it with that wall thickness and just add the piers over the top. And so for that, the best approach I find is to make a new wall. So you can see there the distance is 130. That again I think is just inaccurate drawing. So the pier would generally be 120 or 110 because that's a brick thickness, and then it may have the mortar as well. So okay, so I'm going to go and make a new wall type. I'm not going to use the existing brick 110 because that's got a brick material set to the face of the wall. And when you're showing your interior views, you probably don't want a brick pattern to come up suddenly just on those piers. So it's better to use the generic or the basic walls that you've just been using and make a new one. So I'm going to call this again basic 110 wall. Change the thickness to 110. And if you haven't noticed already, all of these walls that I've been creating have that finished material set, if you're wondering what material they're using. And finish is a nice plain white material. So it means if you're not thinking about the material, it's not going to show something that's over the top. So here I'm going to change the location line to finish face interior. And then as long as I draw clockwise, so starting from the bottom, and what's going on there? Sorry. Am I going clockwise? Am I going mad? Anyhow, it's going the wrong way. So I could draw the opposite direction, or you can use space. Oh, now of course I'm drawing, it's really the exterior face that I'm drawing. Doesn't matter though because it's an internal wall, so it's not so important which way the wall faces as long as the wall sits on the surface of the main wall, and then you can see there that it is flipping when I press space, so I get it can go to the inside. And then again do the same thing here. And you can do the same for the corners. Now, actually this wall will need to be a different thickness though before I do that one, so I'll leave that for now. But I'll show you now how you can tidy that up if you haven't done this before. Just use the join tool on the modify tab. You have the join button and you can then choose those two walls and they'll read as one. So that's a good way of doing changes in thickness as you have with things like piers. Okay, so you should be able to just go ahead and do most of the walls like that. Do the same thing for level 1, duplicate the wall, duplicate the view, and insert the image for that floor plan the same way I showed you with the ground floor, and then you can just trace over it. But notice how you'll have the walls projecting through from the level below, which will help you to line up that image for that floor plan also. Going into the 3D view, notice how some of those walls were showing differently. It wasn't because of their different height, it's because I didn't set the coarse colour for those. So I'll just finish off by showing you that. I left it as generic 300mm wall, so I'll go to there, edit type, duplicate. I know this seems like little unnecessary steps, but it's really going to set it up for later, so it'll save you time when you're putting in everything else. So if I'm making a new wall type, then I can easily change that colour to black. Okay, so then when you go to do the upper levels, above level 2, try to keep the inside face of these walls in line or flush, and then you can have the piers done with a different wall thickness so that they line up with the outside. So that's why, if you're wondering, that's why I stopped the walls there, because you will need to break the walls up a bit differently on those upper levels. Right, so anyhow, if you set it up the right way, it shouldn't take you too long to get all of the outer walls done. That's what I'd probably start with, and then coming to the interior walls, get your floors done for each level as well, before doing too much planning on the inside, because Oh, these, yeah, I'll do that today. Yes, all this will be up on YouTube this afternoon.
So we have to copy versions for each floor and copy it from
Yes, yeah. So extract each floor plan as a JPEG from the PDF, and then just try tracing over and getting all the main walls done. The windows, Araj will show you the windows and other families, but if you want to make a start on those, just try to find something in the library that's similar to these windows. They're just double hung windows. Don't worry too much about the arch bar on top. You can even just do them with a straight, even though there is one in the library you'll find with an arch bar, but if you don't find that, just use a regular double hung window to begin with. And I think they're all identical. So you're lucky, except for the lower level ones, they're basically identical. So once you get one, then it's going to be easy to just copy through the whole project. So with this, a project like this is really all about the setup. If you get the basic setup right, then you can just plough on and quickly get the rest of the building done, really quickly. Good luck with it all. I'll be able to help you with the very last bit of it, but Raj, I'm sure, will get you through most of it.